straight with no chaser. I'ma give it to you straight with no chaser. Straight with no chaser. I'ma give it to you straight with no chaser. You can come and tell your story, you can get it off your chest. Positive love and vibe with celebrity guests. From the big to the small, we can laugh and joke, or get straight to the point and blow it out like smoke. It don't matter to me, it's all love in here. Celebrating success and making people aware that it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. And if you up in here with me, then you right and exact. Cause it's straight with no chaser. I'ma give it to you straight with no chaser. Straight with no chaser. I'ma give it to you straight with no chaser. What's going on? It's the one and only ManDeleon, the Al Capone of the microphone, and you are tuned in to ManDeleon straight with no chaser. And tonight, man, we got a special guest. You know, we're gonna have a great show as usual, but man, you know, not only do I have great guests, you know, I bring people on that, you know, that they got that good info. You know what I mean? And listen, man, it's like each one teach one in the whole nine. But I want to introduce my man. He's a musical entrepreneur and a rap artist. We got my man, J Nolan. What's going on with you, bro?
Oh man, blessed to be here, blessed to still be working and, you know, have an opportunity to talk about it.
Man, I hear you. I hear you. So for those who don't know you, just tell them a little bit about yourself, like where you from, you know, the whole nine.
Okay, so I was originally born in Connecticut, but raised in Riverdale, Atlanta area. So, you know, South Side all day. But outside of that, you know, I started rapping when I was probably like 8 years old, man. It was something that my brother kind of passed down to me. He's 5 years older than me. I always give him that credit. He planted that seed in me. And I didn't really start taking it real serious until about 12, 13, about to go to high school. And you know, I was really interested in basketball at that time as well, but I kind of hurt myself playing at basketball. So I had to sit out the summer right before my freshman year going to high school. So I kind of like got super obsessed with you know, like Outcasts, Diplomats, G Unit, all this stuff. This is 2003 at the time. So, you know,
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So all of that stuff that was out at that time, I really started taking notes and like I was jotting down their lyrics, trying to decode how they was putting their stuff down. And, you know, I kind of became obsessed with it. I went back to school, I took a notebook and started telling people that I rap. Started doing like battles and stuff at my school. And, you know, I just been snowballing ever since then, man. You know what I'm saying? Like my first little opportunities came, you know, going up to Hot 97 back in the day, 1079. You know, meeting with like DJ Drama, Don Cannon, they had the whole Gangsta Grills radio thing before they got raided and stuff like that. So those were like the folks that I was going up there every weekend giving them a CD, you know what I mean?
Right.
And to this day, they still know like that boy go. Like, so that was me planting my seeds like early. And, you know, just been navigating this whole independent thing, you know, this online music space. So over the time from, you got to think, I'm talking about probably 2008 up to now, I've gained a lot of wisdom and insight and ups and downs that I've been able to kind of like translate into information for other people that are going through the same thing.
Yo, see, you said a lot right there. Like just in that little bit, you really said a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? But everybody ain't gonna catch it, but he said a lot right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just a little bit about you, because like you say, you know, when you kind of you know, when you kind of really knew, you like, you know, from 2008 on, you was just kind of really like, okay, I'm at it. Like, and it's funny that, because you don't hear a lot of people say like, shit, I made up my mind at 12. Like, right? Like I was rapping since I was 8, and at 12, I was like, I knew it. Like, right? You don't hear a lot of people say that. Because normally cats, because I mean, like knowing, right? Like and to be honest, right, and you've been in studios, right? A lot of dudes, uh, they start because they at the studio with their dudes. Hey man, I can write a verse, I can get on this song, and then they
Yeah,
on the song. That ain't really they craft. They ain't really study. They was like the opportunity presented itself, and they was they got on the track, whether if it was good or not. They
yeah,
on the track,
yep,
right? But for somebody like you, like you say, I didn't know that, but I could tell that you a student of the game just because I know you lyrical and the whole nine. Um, I met you some years ago, and ever
yep.
since I met you, I kind of been rocking with you, just in the background, just kind of, seeing you navigate and do your thing, and you grow. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And bro, I mean, bro, you been at it, like, and I'll be the first to say, like, I'm one of them people like to give people their flowers, man. So I'm just glad to see you doing it, man.
I appreciate it.
Much love to you. Just keep doing your thing, but yeah, like, I'm gonna throw some names out there at you,
Okay.
right? Since I'm bringing up like old stuff, right? Fresh and local.
Oh man, yes, sir. Fresh and local. So the whole fresh and local thing, man, like that came from me meeting with uh some folks at A3C. It was a
Mhm,
guy named Just Thoughts, and somebody from out of town, out in Jersey, had linked me with him because that's where Just Thoughts is from. He was like, dude, it's a guy out there in Atlanta who I feel like y'all spirit is the same. Y'all got the same like influences and everything. Y'all need to
mhm,
link up. So he reached out to me and was like, hey man, I'm going to A3C. Are you gonna be there? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. So I ended up meeting with him, and he had like 3-4 people with him, that was like his folks already. And from
mhm.
the moment I met them, like we clicked. You know what I'm saying? Like I throughout the rest of that day for the festival, I pretty much was with them.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? We left the festival grounds and everything, came back like we were just rolling like we've known each other for years.
right.
So that's how Fresh and Local really came to be. And three of us were artists. Um Bobby, my homie Bobby, he was more on the engineering side, but he also played the drums in a band.
Mhm,
So it was like looking at the landscape at that time, you know, the trap music wave was like just starting, like really becoming a thing. Like this is like after Waka and them like took over, but then you had like the Travis Porter and all of that stuff going on, you know what I mean? And then you had like Young Migos. So we don't really fit in with that. You know, that ain't what we do. Like that's cool, but that ain't our lane. So the
mhm.
whole conception of Fresh and Local was like, dang, how can we connect with people that are more like-minded to what we're trying to do, and build something from there. So what we did with Fresh and Local was we started going to like the poetry uh events and stuff because it was like, all right, that's kind of more what we're about, more so than the club thing. So we started hitting up all the little open mics for the poetry and stuff.
Like the
And
lyrical,
yeah, the lyrical, yeah, exactly. So we
because you can go,
started,
because it's really poems.
yep,
You know what I mean? We really, it's really spoken word.
exactly. Yep.
you know
So
it.
we
You
started
know.
like making our rounds in that circle, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm,
but what we also did at the same time was we created a podcast called Fresh and Local Radio. So then with the people that we were meeting at the time, we started opening up the floor to like, hey, come through the studio. Let's do an interview with you. You know what I mean? So whether it was a poet, an artist, a business owner, or whatever the case it may be, that was kind of like our way of like, because we had this motto of, all right, if we want people to rock with us, we got to rock with other people. We got to provide value. So that kind of was our way of opening the door to build relationships with people and get booked on lineups rather than always showing up and signing up for the open mic. Like, hey, can I get a feature? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me actually rock for a little bit longer. So that's what Fresh and Local was, you know what I'm saying? Fresh and Local evolved into a festival over time, where we started booking artists to come out and having vendors come out and sell their stuff. And that became its own thing, which I haven't actually done a physical fresh and local event since 2019, but we do plan on bringing that back as well.
Okay. Definitely, because I used to see them. I was like, man, because see, I knew it was that type. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was like, because like you said, the scene was really something different. Like, I've been in. I'm not originally from Atlanta. A lot of people. I'm from Cleveland. I'm from Ohio.
Okay.
But when I moved down here, it was around, like you said, I used to be in the club at like I moved down here in like 06, 07. So I used to go to Crucial, you know what I'm saying, on you
Yeah.
know, on Monday nights. I used to go to Miami. I used to go, I used to go to throwback all the little spots, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But at that time. But like I get what the vibe was. That's what I'm saying. And for somebody that might have been kind of like, I ain't really like totally like that right there.
Yeah, you know, like
You know what I
we
mean? My
respected it.
vibe is
Yeah.
yeah, because they looked at you different. Like you came on the,
Yeah.
this day, they're like, man, you
Man,
ain't talking about
what
what
that
we
boy
talking
doing,
about.
man?
Like,
What
hold up,
that
man.
boy out there doing, man? Get that boy
But
out the stage.
but I always respected cats that was out there doing what they was doing, because it still took something for you to get out there and just do what you was doing, and
Yep.
just get out there and express what whatever you love, and however you do it, the whole nine.
Yep.
But you, like I said, man, bro, I know you've been like evolving like over the years, but it's a lot of stuff I want to get into,
Okay.
right? But I just don't want to just like jump, like get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Um, but it was some things that that you done been in, that you've been a part of.
Yeah.
Um, but I seen that you also won some awards. So what? Tell me about you winning them, like the Mark Awards.
Oh, I didn't actually win, but I got
Oh,
nominated.
when you was nominated,
Yeah,
excuse
yeah,
me, you
yeah.
was nominated. Let me
Yep.
get it right. You was nominated for best use in documentary and films in the series. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So, man, a crazy thing about that was I really didn't know nothing about it till
Okay.
like a week before the event took place. And because I didn't even know what the Mark Awards was, bro. Like
It's
I
like
ain't
I
know
got
nothing about
nominated
it.
for what?
Yeah, yeah. So like the dude that produced the song sent me a DM and he was like, "Hey, did you see the Mark Awards, the PMAs or whatever?" I'm like, "What is that?"
Mm.
Didn't know nothing about it. So he was like, "Yeah, check this out. We got nominated for best use in a documentary, and they're having an award show. I'm trying to see, if it's like something that we could actually go to or whatever." So they had it in California. I wasn't able to get out there on such short notice, but they did like a virtual version of it as well, where you could tune in online.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, there was in so many different sync projects, man. One of them that I was featured in, they nominated it for best use in a documentary. So that expanded my world a lot because I didn't even know that people in sync licensing and TV and film on the musical side got awards. I only seen the directors and the actors and producers get awards. So I'm like, dang, we could actually get awards for having music in these TV shows and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's
Did it,
on.
did that like something in you? Did
It,
that
it
kind of
did.
change your perspective a little
It
bit?
it opened up my perspective a lot, but I was already kind of, by the time I found out about it, I was already like very deep into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what really lit the flame for me, I ain't gonna lie, was like at the top of last year, actually the end of 2021, going into 2022. Um, it had got to a point where me and my fiance at that time, we were kind of like at that space where it's like, what we finna do? You know what I mean? We gotta take this day to the next level, you know what I mean? So we talking about in the house together, married, and all this stuff. So I'm like, bruh, I'm doing okay right now, but I
Right,
need to turn it up.
right.
And I'm like, I know this sync licensing thing can really do something. I've made money off of it, but I want to rack up like 100 placements this year. Like I want to be able to go into 2022, 23, knowing that I got money on the way. So that's what really lit the flame in me. Like I was kind of cool, even with the Mark Awards. Like it's like, all right, that's dope. I'm trying to get to 100 placements this year.
So let's back up a little bit, because
Yeah.
you kind of like went right to the, like, yo, I'm 100 placements, and you went right to the money, like, and a lot of people like, well, hold up, bro, like,
Yeah.
what was that first check like?
Okay.
What was the first thing that you got placed? What was your first placement, and then what was that first check like for that placement, and kind of
Okay.
explain that for, because a lot of, I mean, I don't know, so a lot of people don't really understand that. So what's that like?
Okay, so I got a 1A and a 1B. So 1A was I got a placement on for those that might not know, that the brand Quicksilver, it's like a surf brand. They do these surf competitions or whatever, at least they used to. And I had won a competition for my song to be featured in that broadcast. I never actually seen it. I never seen no proof of it. I never got paid from it. So that was my first experience in sync licensing. I had this perception of what it was going to be, and then nothing. You know what I mean? Around that same time, I had gotten approached to be in this film called "You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You." It was executive produced by Spike Lee, and his mentee actually directed the film. I got approached to have a song on there. They had Rick Ross and all these different people on the soundtrack. The producer refused to sign off on the paperwork. He didn't want to put his social security number on a W-9. So I had to pass that up. So the first real placement I had was on UFC Road to the Octagon, which was before they do the actual fight, they show you the background of each fighter. They talk about their motivation coming into the fight, whatever. So it was this Hispanic fighter. He was like freshly mourning the death of his brother. So he was giving a whole background of like, this fight means so much because I lost my brother. This gonna be in his honor. And they used my track as the backdrop to him, like explaining that whole thing. And I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like, this is actually meaningful. Like,
right.
word.
It was more than just for what you made the song for. It actually meant more for somebody else.
Yep. So that was dope. But it took a little minute for me to actually get paid. So in this instance, the producer of the song, that's what he made his living doing, was getting TV placements. Okay. So I hit him up like, hey, bro, it done been about 2-3 months. Like, where the money at, bro? Like, this song been on TV. They showing it on other channels.
I've been seeing it. Like, I've been seeing
it. And he's like, oh, man, that's how it worked. But you should be getting a payment from BMI, whatever. And then he was like, matter of fact, let me check. I think they may have some money for us, just for the usage itself. So we ended up splitting like $1,500, you know what I mean, $750 a piece. And then on the back end, on the royalty side, I got a check for like another $500 off the first time that they played it. But then over time, I discovered, about a year later, I'm like, dang, I done got paid like 3-4 more times off this UFC thing, because now I'm seeing, oh snap, I'm getting paid every time they play it. Oh, that's different. So now
the rerun.
Yeah, the rerun, because you got to think, man, UFC, the first viewing of it is pay-per-view, but then it goes to like Fox Sports, or they may put it on Fox the next week after the pay-per-view. Then it goes to Fox Sports, and then once it gets to Fox Sports, every state got their own Fox Sports. Then eventually it went to international, because a lot of times they'll get the stuff after we get it. So then it started showing in Brazil and all this stuff. So I got paid off that one placement for a couple years. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang, this is so much different than just releasing music and kind of spraying and praying.
Right,
this is concrete.
Right.
So that's what definitely opened my eyes. But it took a little minute for me to get more placements after that, because I didn't understand the game. It was just like I had been introduced to it. So this guy named Joseph Parker was the one who reached out to me, and he linked me up with Soul Plus Mind, who is the producer that produced that track and some others that we did. And Joseph was just like, hey man, you dope as hell, bro. Like, I'm a fan of what you do, and I think I got a lane over here where you can actually financially benefit, because I think you too
Mm.
dope to just be, you know, whatever you doing. I think I can add to it.
Right, right.
So I took him up on his offer. They kind of gave me the quick little rundown of how it works. They're like, yeah, you know, all them punchlines and stuff you be saying, you know, you have to tone that down. Like all the, you know, the hip hop thing to do is like flex with all the brand names. They're like, you're gonna have to calm that down. You can't be using all these brand names. They got this stuff copyrighted, trademark. You know, you
Right,
got to be
right.
careful about what you're saying now. I'm like, what? Y'all try to take away my creativity? Like, what are we doing? But I did it anyway. And then once I started seeing the residual effect, I was like, okay, I'm catching
'Cause you
on.
don't have to get stuff clear. If you ain't saying it, you ain't got to get it clear.
Right.
You just, you know,
Yeah,
just
because you
just
know,
spit it different.
yeah, because in hip hop, you know, we'll take somebody's most embarrassing moment and turn it into a punchline, and then
Right,
they turn around and hear it and want to sue you. You know what I mean? Like
right, right,
it's bad
right,
for
right,
business,
right,
especially if
right.
it's gonna be broadcast on TV and then they hear it. So
Yeah.
I had to go through the learning curve of what that was, and then it was like, all right, well, how do we get more placement? So I kept reaching out, like, man, if you got any beats, you got anything you're trying to work on, man, just hit me up.
Mhm.
And that was like, it was a gradual build. So that first placement was like in 2012, 2013, but I didn't really like start understanding what was going on till like 2018. It took a while.
Okay. So just so people know, like even when you talking about it, like because like I done heard you talk about it, you be like, you know, just like anybody you see online on social media, you know, they make it seem like, oh yeah, man, you know, look, man, I've been doing it, man. Look at my joint right here, man. You know, this all you gotta do. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
just follow these steps right here, man. Go get my book, man. You know,
Yep.
and speaking of that, you you got a book, right?
Yep.
Tell my people about that pen game.
All right, so I got two versions of it. I got the pen game portfolio, which is like a short version. It was the first book that I wrote. But then I also had the pen game portfolio volume 2, which goes way more in depth, way more details, and gives you more of an outline of how to build your career, even without sync. If that's something that you don't necessarily understand, it's going to give you understanding of it. But if you took sync out of the equation, the book is still extremely valuable.
Okay. Now, have you got, you know, anybody that just came to you and said, look, man, this, you know, I got this book.
Mhm.
I really followed it to the T because, you know, I obviously like a lot of people get some stuff and they, you know, read a chapter or two and be, you know, be skipping, trying to skip steps and then
Yeah.
wonder why stuff don't work.
Yep.
But have you had anybody come to you and just say, look, man, I did this thing, man, or I appreciate, or I'm using this and it's just giving me, you know, knowledge
Oh
on what.
yeah. I mean, I've helped quite a few people, man, get their situation in order, man. Like, uh, there was one artist, she's a singer. She reached out to me and was like, "Man, you know, I read your book and I read your story about how you was using Fiverr to like connect with people that need vocalists and stuff like that." She started making money off of the information that I was giving in the book. I've had numerous people sign up and go do that. You know what I mean? I've had people that got their first sync licenses and stuff after either reading the book or booking a consultation with me. You know what I'm saying? After giving them the breakdown of how the stuff works and what to expect when somebody reaches back out to you if they do. And you know, for me, that's like the greatest thing is being able to impact somebody else and jumpstart a situation for them. Because I know being an independent artist, man, this stuff ain't easy, man. Even right now, for me, it's not easy. I'm going through, you know, my own little slowdown period, man. Everybody in inflation right now, folks ain't booking consultations and stuff with me
Right,
like that.
right,
So,
right,
um, but I'm trying to give people a cushion, you know what I mean? To where it's like, all right, you might be in a rough spot right now, but if you just invest a little bit of time, effort, you know what I mean, and some discipline into your situation, you could come up out of that. You don't want to stay there.
right. Definitely, definitely. I mean, you know, you don't want to be stagnated. You know, you got to be working towards something.
Yep.
Um, you know, you once it was a quote, and I'm gonna just start it, but I want you to finish it. And did you once said something like you used to be reluctant about sharing your story about your accomplishments?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so at first when I started like getting placements and stuff, like I would share it, but I wouldn't really talk about it. It was just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like trying to be humble. You know what I mean? I think that was
Right,
the main thing because we in the black community, that's like the word of the century. You know what I mean? Be humble, be humble. I hate that shit,
right.
um, but at that time, early on, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to be palatable. I didn't want to offend nobody with my so-called success, because sometimes you get into a space where everyone's not happy for you, I guess. But then
Mm-hmm.
there's also the perception that everyone's not happy for you. You know what I mean? And I think that
Right,
that's what really gets you going crazy.
right.
What you think somebody else is thinking on your situation. Man, I ain't got time
Like
for that. But
you overthinking it.
yeah, overthinking it. So I was in that space where I was like, I don't know how people gonna feel about me putting this out there. But then over time, I kind of learned about content creation and how to like roll out your messaging, you know what I mean, and how to be palatable to people. I think I was always palatable to people, but at the same time, I wasn't being deliberate about it. So once I actually put my plan together, I was like, all right, cool. I got everything in order. I can make these steps easy for myself. I had to get comfortable talking on camera. I used to hate cameras, you know what I mean? Like when folks told me to get on, I got on Instagram late. Like I
Right.
didn't get on there till 2012, 2013. It was already around for a bit. But a friend
Mhm.
of mine, a female friend of mine, she was like, dog, if you don't get on Instagram, I'm gonna make you a page. Like, quit playing.
Right.
And because I used to hate it, like, especially during that time where, you know, Facebook Live and all of that stuff was first coming on the scene. I'm like, you want me to pull the camera and just be holding like this? Like that feel like a female, you know what I mean? Like
Right, right,
that's
like,
how I was looking. Yeah. They
like
like, dog.
you might well do some duck lips or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. That's what I thought,
Like,
But I was like, man,
right.
I'm gonna try this stuff out and I'm gonna catch on eventually. It took a long time, but once I got acclimated to it and set the
Mhm.
tripod up and all that stuff, I'm like, okay, let's hit the ground running.
Okay. Yeah, bro, because I see, like, and now, like, you done built, like, so much content and different content. So, like, I know you got, like, different. So tell people some of the pages that you got, or where they, like, or some of the stuff that you really talk about on the daily, because you really
Oh
put
man.
out you really put out a lot of good information. But I want you to kind of tell people about it.
Okay, so man, I talk about just about any and everything that has to do with the business of music, man. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, I talk about these artists out here that are out here selling their masters and kind of trying to dive into like what's really going on, what's the
Hmm.
next frontier, why everybody's cashing out right now. They've been cashing out for the last 3 years.
Hmm.
Um, guys go on these interviews and talk about how they got done dirty, and everything always circles around to I didn't know any better. You know what I mean? So I
but,
always,
we've been watching, like, for
yeah,
years. Like,
yeah,
everybody been saying for years, I don't
yeah,
know who you is. Like, hey man,
yeah.
what you
For,
got, a 360? Like, what you,
I mean, dog,
like what you, like, you know what I
TLC
mean?
came out and said it early,
Like,
but nobody caught on. We seen the videos. We'll watch the videos. We'll send it to somebody else, but we're not really picking up on like
that can
when
happen to
it's our
you.
turn. Yeah,
Right, it
exactly,
can happen to you. And
exactly.
speaking of that, so tell me, like, why you think, like, when people, like, I mean, I kind of got my opinion about it, but,
Mhm.
like, it's so many people that, like, independent artists now, and when they release music now, because it's just like, man, look, I'm just trying to get out there.
Yep.
I'm just trying to be heard. So sometimes they release music without it being, um, without it really being copywritten or anything.
Mhm.
Um, so two questions. So what do you think about that? And what do you think about, like whether, like, what's the best way for them to copyright it? And what do you think about, like, platforms like DistroKid, where, or Tune, what is it?
TuneCore, yeah,
TuneCore, where they just distribute, what's the word I'm looking at?
distributed.
Distributed.
Yeah,
I was
yep.
trying to say distribution, but distributed, right?
I got you. Yeah, so man, I mean, The simplest way to copyright your music is just to go to copyright.gov, have an album ready. That's my biggest suggestion. Album in terms of copyright is up to 10 songs, and you could copyright them 10 songs for like anywhere between $50 to $75, and it's covered. If you do it individually, you're gonna be paying that $50 for every song you make. You know what I'm saying? So cut it up into albums, send it to the copyright office, you good to go. You know what I'm saying? But then when it comes to like distribution, it's so many platforms out there, right? But even in the book, I talk about each platform. I give like some of the pros and cons of each one because they policies are not all the same, and some of them have some weird little stipulations and stuff. So I think for anybody that's starting out, I think the easiest cut and dry place to go with is like DistroKid, because you keep your royalties. You ain't got nobody really in your pockets. You pay like $30 a year on the base plan, $37, $38, and you can release
like
as much.
$20.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And you can release all the music you want all year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Easy. But
Right.
the issue after that is like, okay, yeah, you putting music out now. Who's going to listen to it? How do you get people tuned in with what you're doing? Because just releasing music ain't good enough. You know, there was once upon a time where being able to say, oh yeah, my song is on Spotify, Apple Music meant something because everybody wasn't on there.
And you can say you can go to it right here. There it is,
Yeah,
right
like,
there.
oh snap, you on there now? It's like, bro,
It's
come
on
on.
YouTube. Look, it's right there. Like,
Yeah, you know, today it's like, bro, show me something. Like
right.
that don't mean nothing. Baby's
Right.
got that. Little Lele got that, man. What you doing?
With some views, with
Yeah,
millions.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that don't matter. So now it's about creating that brand. What is your brand? What is your image? Why should I care about you? You know what I'm saying? And those are the questions that us as artists sometimes we neglect. We don't really look at it from a fan standpoint. We be like, man, I'm fine, man, I'm good. But it's like, okay, what makes you care about somebody else's music though? Them just being good ain't gonna do it. So you got to kind of remove yourself from that situation and look at it objectively. But distribution is easy. You got to get some type of marketing. You know, presentation is key. You know, a lot of artists, man, especially the ones that are in my age group, a lot of them don't be willing to adapt. They don't be trying to, especially with the social media, they don't want to spend time on there. They don't want to upgrade their phone to get a better camera quality. You know what I'm saying? Like, be having this yellow tint in their room. Like, I know you got an old phone, bro. Like, just
Yellow tint.
yeah. Like, bro, just
like you ain't even upgrade on the old phone.
yeah,
You need to
man.
update.
Like,
You need to update on the old phone. You ain't even
yeah, man.
set the
Get
up.
you
Man.
get you some
Yeah.
new lights and stuff. Like little easy stuff that you can do that is not even expensive, but it's just a
Right.
mindset shift that got to take place.
But you gotta want to.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta be on something. You know.
Yep.
You know, cause so many people, I feel like, you know, they get used to stuff being handed to them, or you know, like I said, they just happen to be in the right place at the right time, and then you know when that ain't there no more. Okay, now what you gonna do? Like, well, you know, now you gotta really show and prove, and you know, stuff ain't given to you, and then
Yeah.
now you mad at everybody else.
Yeah, you know, we get to that place where it's like, oh man, they sleeping on me, man. Like they ain't nobody trying to help. But I had to learn early on, man. Ain't nobody coming to help, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's yeah. Hey, so speaking of your placements, okay, bro, you done had some of the dopest placements, like, and you know, and like I say, I was watching from afar, like, oh man, my man on there, like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what's up, you know, and I like, cause I'm just like, I'm one of them people, man, like, I never understood how you can hate on somebody, you know, like, I'll be happy for other folk, right?
Yep.
Right, I'm not one of them that, like, you know, like some people always got something bad to say no matter what you do.
Yep.
And like it don't matter, like it don't matter what it is, right? But like I say, you know, I see you, bro, and I was like, oh, like for instance, like the Kevin Hart joint. you know, and that was like during COVID and shit
Yep,
too,
yep.
right? So which one was that? The zero
Zero fucks given. Yep.
yeah, yeah. And that was like it's like the intro and shit too,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Tell me what that look. I mean, just tell me how you look. Like, did you have like a watch party? Did you just start inviting did you invite people over and not even tell them and shit? And then
Nah, I
y'all
didn't.
be watching it and be like,
I,
and then and see if they notice it was you or something.
I
Like,
wish I would have done that because I didn't even get a heads up about that, man. Like, certain
really?
companies you work with, man, they not even gonna give you no notice on what's coming out. So this particular company, Ninja Tune, they get so many placements, man. They not worried about none of this stuff. They just collecting their checks, man. So the whole way that I found out about the Kevin Hart placement was earlier that day. I did this drive-in concert, and at the end of the night, me and my girl on the way back to the house, and she was like, "You want to check out the Kevin Hart thing when we get home?" I'm like, "I guess, probably gonna go to sleep. It's a long day."
We can go to sleep watching that. That's something good to go sleep.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And we've been outdoors in the cold.
Right.
Like this is in
Right.
November with an outdoor show. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
tired of hell.
As soon as you get comfortable,
Yep,
it's over.
yep. So we put it on, and he's coming out, and it's so crazy, man. Because my first instinct wasn't even like recognizing my voice. I was just like, this sound familiar, but it wasn't clicking that it was me. I'm like, oh, this sounds like something I heard before.
Just like anything else, like that, like you was bobbing your head, like that shit slick as hell.
Yeah,
I heard that somewhere.
I'm like, yeah, I recognize this voice. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh, man, that's me. She like, that's you. What are you talking about? I'm like, nah, listen. And that I started like I did what I could to go find the footage, you know what I'm saying, and post it online and whatnot. And folks was all hitting me in the DMs like, oh, bro, it's crazy. I just watched it last night. I knew it sounded like you, but I didn't want to say nothing. I'm like, what? Y'all wish you did. I would have known last night.
Right,
But
right.
but yeah, that's how I found out. I literally turned it on and I heard my voice, which is crazy enough. It's how I find out about quite a few of my placements is just me being a fan and checking out different TV shows and movies and being pleasantly surprised.
Okay, because one that I was pleasantly surprised about just recently, maybe a couple months ago. We in a new year right now, so it was just still a couple months ago.
Yep.
But a couple months ago, Serena Williams decided that she was going to retire.
Yeah.
And then I'm scrolling one Saturday morning. I'm laying in the bed, just scrolling on my timeline. I'm like, no, my man, that ain't my man. I was like, no, my man, I got that. Like, no, for real. Like, tell me, because I was like, yo, I don't know how many people I showed. That was like, look at my man right here.
Yeah. So
That was really. Because that was huge, though. It
it
wasn't just
was.
Serena. It was both of them.
It was both of them. Yeah, they last
So
doubles
it
match
was like
together.
I was like, that's huge.
Yeah, man. So that one, I didn't know it was coming, but I was able to find out about it in real time because over time I've kind of found out different ways to kind of like track my music. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got this website that I've signed up on, and artists, y'all listening, tap in. It's this website called TuneSat. All right. And with TuneSat, it's completely free. You get to upload up to 50 songs in their database. And they're going to scrub the internet and the TV shows that come on TV for your music. So if your song plays, they're going to give you a notification, and it's going to actually give you audio of whatever it is that they playing on TV, of the commercial or whatever it is, to confirm so that you can hear it for yourself. Like, oh, that is my song playing to the backdrop of whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I found out about the Venus and Serena thing, because I wasn't able to tune into the match. I think I was doing some family stuff. So that same night, I got on my TuneSat and was just like, let me see if I got anything popping up today. and I seen it was an ESPN thing. I'm like, what? When I got on ESPN, what's going on? So I hit the little play button so I could hear what was going on, and I'm like, okay. And it'll tell you like the name of the program. So being that it was the U.S. Open, I knew that much, but I didn't know whose match it was. So then from there, I had to go like try to track it down. Like, okay, based on these sounds, based on the content, I'm like, they sound like they talking about a woman. I'm like, that might be Serena. So I had to go surf the net and try to find the clip. And I was able to find it and I posted about it. But that was a big deal on multiple levels. Like being that it was Venus and Serena, it was their last doubles match,
Right,
possibly of their career together.
right.
It was
Legendary.
legendary right there. It was narrated by Questlove. So his voice is on there with my track. Like me being a student of the game of knowing all these people, I'm like Questlove, Serena, Venus,
Right,
like
right,
these are like
right.
childhood heroes for me. So I'm like, and this is all at one time with my track. Crazy.
And it's funny how how the Lord work, right? You ain't gotta know. Wow. So it's funny what you say that because so you just saying like a lot of times you just got your music out there and you don't even know, just random song. So like how many songs do you have like that's like that you got uploaded that's or like that's out for placement that's able to be, would you
Uh
say?
I think that tune set is pretty much full. So it's got to be at least like 40, 45 songs that's like constantly out there in rotation being pitched. But
Okay.
there's more than that also, because sometimes I'll create something specific, or a company that I'm working with will be like, hey, we need this type of song. We already got the beat. Can you come up with these lyrics? Um, So I have other stuff like that as well. I'm still creating new songs with the purpose of sync. I got an album that I'm working on. We'll talk about that, but a majority of that album will also be marketed in the sync space. So I'm always working on trying to maximize that lane because it's like it's not really a huge barrier to entry. Once you have the people skills, you know how to cold email somebody and send them your catalog of what you have, and your music is already all set to be used. It gets a lot easier from there. But it's just when you don't know no better and nobody's giving you the game on how to structure your music, or just how to reach out to somebody, or who's even the people to reach out to. Because if you ain't never got a sync placement, you don't know who none of these companies are. So once you start getting that part already out the way, it's gonna smooth. Like it's not automatic, but if you really got good music and you start studying like what the trends are in the space, because no matter what it is that you're doing, there's always gonna be trends. If you're in fashion, the trends consistently change throughout the year. But if you on top of everything, you already kind of know what's coming before it comes. So that's kind of like where I'm at with it, and other people that I'm working with are at with it. So we're able to keep each other on our toes as well.
See, and see that's the beauty of like like you said, you just like you on top of like the trends and the new, what's coming, and it's funny like I'm about to take us back like in the same breath, right? Because with 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 the way placement is being put, like you're saying, like your music and movies and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that would like would they ever bring back soundtracks where ever back in the day where the soundtrack was like it was like the thing, and but like like because you got all these different artists, like because like I remember back in the day, like in the '90s, like man, every movie that came out had like an ill soundtrack, like
Yep.
and it was just and they was like it was just crazy. But now like the songs be questionable or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
they don't go or what, but it never sold. But like because they're like now, like because the soundtrack is more or less like a connected to a label, connected to the movie itself, and somebody's over the whole entire project.
Yeah.
Per se, for the most part, you know, like some of them are added in, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, is there space for that now? You think
Yeah.
now you think it'll come back?
It's coming back because one person who really always releases the soundtrack to every project that she works on is Issa Rae. So every season of Insecure has their own soundtrack that's available on streaming platforms. Same thing with Rap Shit, which is the other show she came out with recently. Um, I went to the house party premiere a couple weeks ago, and while we were sitting in there waiting on the movie to come on, you know, the actual director and the producer came up in the theater and was like, "Yo, the movie's dope, but y'all be on the lookout for the soundtrack." You know, and it's like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
got,
yeah, yeah. And see, you know, you probably got excited, like, oh, the soundtrack?
yeah, I perked up. I'm like, oh snap,
Yeah.
it's where we at with it. Cause I think Def Jam is like overseeing that soundtrack, you know what I mean? Which makes a lot of sense because I heard 2 Chainz in the movie and some
Right.
other stuff like that. So I'm like, oh
Okay.
snap, they are actually investing back in making soundtracks again.
Okay.
Somebody else did that, you know, with the whole Black Panther, you know, the first one more so than the second one. I don't know what they did with the second one, but you know, Kendrick Lamar oversaw the Black Panther soundtrack a couple years ago, and stuff like that is happening. Hit Boy actually was over the soundtrack of what was the Huey P. Newton movie? What was the Black Messiah or something like that?
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yes, Hit Boy, the producer, was he did the soundtrack for that like a year or two ago also. So there are definitely little pieces, bits and pieces here where folks are leaning into that. But I think overall, it's really about the budget, what kind of
Right.
budget they working with.
But so, in your opinion, though, like if you're an artist, right?
Mhm.
Like, and obviously it depends on where you at as an artist. Like, if you're somebody that's like, you know, already that's out there like a name, but would you? Is it more profitable? You know, if you know, or do it depend on who you are? Like, if it's more profitable get placement, or if it's more profitable is like be an artist on the soundtrack.
Well, if you're an artist on the soundtrack, more than likely you're gonna get paid on both sides. So a lot of times the songs from the soundtrack are gonna show up in the movie too. And then you also get paid from, you know, when the songs get streamed or bought and stuff like that. So I haven't actually been on like a real soundtrack yet, but I've been more so in the films. You know what I'm saying? Both are lucrative. Is they both are way better than just dropping songs, you know what I'm saying, and hoping that they work. That's the main thing. Any way that you could get started, that's the whole thing. You know what I mean? Only soundtrack that I've been on, I've last year I was on the NBA 2K22 soundtrack, you know, in the in-game soundtrack, which was dope as hell.
That's a soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah.
but,
But they don't really, they kind of release it. You
right,
know,
right.
they do this, they started doing this thing now where they have like they'll actually put out a compilation, like here's the season 2 soundtrack. So they started organizing it a little bit differently now, but for a while it was just whatever was on the game was on the game. They didn't really call it a soundtrack.
Well, your movie soundtrack coming in 23. You heard it here first, bro.
Hey,
I
I'll take
said
it,
it
man.
first, bro. It's coming. And look, I might have something to do with it.
Hey,
I'm gonna just put it out there.
let's
Like
get it.
a good word to go a long way.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'm capping right now, man. Somebody actually, I was on a independent film soundtrack last year too. I forgot about that.
Okay, well, what was the independent joint? Shout it out.
Man, don't get me lying,
Okay,
man. I forgot the
okay.
title.
All right. Let's say less, but I ain't go.
Don't get me lying now. I remember it happened, but I forgot the title, man.
Look, it's cool, man. Look, we go keep it moving. Like I ain't gonna do it to you.
Yeah.
But look, you know, like I say, so you so much like you know, like the pen game, the book, and like you know, you let these people know, look, man, I know the game.
Yeah.
You know, but every now and then, you know, you still get out there like, hold up, don't get it twisted though. I got these bars though,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
but this is what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like with that rap battle with Loaded Lux, Hot 97?
Yeah.
Like what was that like? Like, cause like everybody came up watching Smack and you know what I'm saying, what I did. You know what I mean? Like the the rap battles and the whole night. Well, I was a fan of that. So to see you part of that, I'm like, dang, my man, like, tell me how that came about, bro.
Oh man, it wasn't a battle. If it was a battle, I might not have went. But
but but I'm saying
but
it
it
was
was
the
a
Loaded Lux.
competition. Yeah,
It was the Loaded Lux thing.
Yeah.
So
So man, number one, it was an honor because when I submitted to that, it was just off the strength of Loaded Lux. Like,
right.
I'm a fan. I've seen this dude from the beginning, from the Smack DVDs to when he was the reigning champ on 106 in Park. Like, I really been watching dude. So when he put the call out to be like, yo, I'm looking for the spitters, like send your best videos. I tagged that nigga on every video I had of me rapping. Like, nigga, I got 100 of them.
Right.
Because he like
back
just
to the old joints.
I went back 2 years and I put that nigga's hashtag on everything.
Right.
And like he was like, I just needed one. Like, nah, I'm gonna put you. You gonna pick one of these
just in case you ain't show.
Yeah, exactly. So, but by the time he made his selection, he had partnered up with Hot 97 out there in New York. So it was like even bigger than what I was expecting. So, crazy thing, man. Like when he contacted me, he was like, yo, I need you on this show. He sent me a DM on IG, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, bro, when is the show?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the time I was still working. So he was like, bro, it's next week, next Thursday. Like, I need you out here. I'm like, oh boy.
Trying to figure out how you gonna get off.
I'm like, bro. How the hell I'm gonna get out of this shit? So I'm putting a little plan together. I'm talking to my girl, like, should I do it? Should I go? Should I? Because the whole pickle that I was in was at the time I was working at Lockheed, and they had this weird policy up there where, because like at the end of the year, almost like school, you get like 2-3 weeks off the last couple of weeks of the year. And it's paid time off, but they got this policy where you got to work the last day before the break and you got to work the first day when you come back.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. So I had to miss that last day though. And I had to wait. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm about to go to New York and do this, but I'm gonna miss like 2-3 weeks of pay. Like, I ain't got it like that. But I sacrificed it because I'm like, you know what? I got money coming in from other places. God gonna look out. It's gonna work.
And that's opportunity. That in itself, and then just networking and everything.
Yeah. And I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to do it because in the past, when other opportunities like that would come up, I would pass on them. I would go from like the practical standpoint of, nah, I know I need this, I need that. Nah, if I miss this, I'm not gonna have that. And I say, man, I'm gonna take a chance on this one because I've passed up opportunities and I still be wondering why I'm not where I want to be. So I got to do something different. And that kind of was like the beginning of a lot of stuff for me, man. Like I don't think that show necessarily was responsible for anything that came after, or maybe a few things that came after, but it was just like a timing thing of when the show was released, and then I was able to like build momentum off of that to where, man, a couple months after the show was over, I wasn't working no more. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like crazy how that worked out, but I had to make that decision. Had I not done that, who knows what could have happened.
Everything kind of fell in place.
Yep.
We take that leap of faith though.
Yep.
Definitely. So, bro, like, you've been through. It's a lot. Like, I know you didn't have like a lot of different projects, and you just kind of really been out there. But, so I know you're a rap artist. So for the most part, when people say that when you tell people like, look, I'm a music entrepreneur, right? Obviously, if they've been listening to anything, you already kind of explained it.
Yeah.
But sum that up, in a sense for those who, kind of like.
All right, so for me, the whole music entrepreneur thing, man, it came into play because I found myself like really diving into the business side. Like for so long, I just focused on the creative side, like being in the studio and excuse me, even coming up with the artwork and all of the artistic stuff. That was my main focus. But I'm like, man, I gotta hone in. Like I know I'm getting placements, but I can't take care of myself off the placements because I don't got enough coming in. Like I'm getting them every now and then, but I'm like, bruh, if my foot already in the door, why I'm not all the way in? So I had to like really like buckle down and be like, let me learn this business. Let me learn the in and outs of what's going on. Let me start finding out who these people are. What is a music supervisor? What do they do? I started looking up interviews of music supervisors that were talking to people. And some of these videos, they ain't got but 500 views online, but these people be important as hell. You know what I'm saying? So I just like really inserted myself in the space of music business and like, who's doing this over here at this label? Who did this? All right, I know who J. Cole is, but what about his manager? And then I watched J. Cole's documentary he did, and how he put his whole team on of like one of his closest boys from high school is now like his tour production manager or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And these are the types of folks that you got to know who they are if you come across them, if you really want opportunities, because you're not going to see J. Cole nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But you might be at the grocery store and walk right past one of these folks.
Be right. And I be like that. And some people look at me funny when I used to watch reality shows. I'm like, I'm living in, I'm in Atlanta.
Yep.
I'm like, look, but sometimes, but not only that, you need to know where you at sometimes. Because like I be in a lot of different places, I be all over.
Yep.
And sometimes you don't even realize who you speaking to, and it be they people. Like,
yep.
it don't be the person, it be somebody's mama, it's like,
Yep.
and you just looking at them like a regular person, you don't even realize, like,
Yep. Exactly.
like, hey man, and but I definitely hear you.
So
But
to get back to my answer though, because I kind of took it off somewhere. So basically the whole music entrepreneur element is, all right, you have the music, but now what's next? You know what I'm saying? And I had to fill in those gaps. Like, all right, I got the sync thing going on. I'm releasing music. How do I get eyeballs on me? I seen that the TikTok thing was going crazy. So now if you're online, you are by default a content creator. Okay. Where do I fall into the content creation space? You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna be out here dancing and jigging. So I leaned into sharing information. And as I get information, I give it right back. You know what I'm saying? I don't withhold nothing from nobody. Like for real, even though I sell the book, if somebody was literally paying attention for the last 2 years and they just ran my videos back to back to back to back,
right there,
it's there. You know what I'm saying? Because I give out so much information. I straight every video out that I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of course I'm monetizing my reels on Instagram, but the reel can't be no longer than a minute 30. So I'm like, all right, how can I pack as much value into a minute 30, 90 seconds as I can? Because I'm not trying to shortchange people. I don't like giving people half the story and then they gotta be like, well, damn, where's the rest? But people make a living off of giving you little snacks, you know what I mean? Appetizers.
right.
That's how they make a living. I don't really, people do what they do, but that ain't me. So for me as a music entrepreneur, it's just me being a musical person that's learning how this business works. I think that music business is almost more important than music itself because everybody has a talent in this. You're born with a gift of something, but if you don't know how to monetize it, you don't know how to get it in front of somebody, you don't have confidence when you walk into a room with your gift, you know what I'm saying? It may not work. So I'm trying to give people as much information as possible. And that also has a fee. When you come to me directly, you can get it off the videos, but if you want me to help you out, you got to pay for it. So I think for me, that's what the music entrepreneurial thing is because I don't work for nobody no more. Um, this is what I make my living doing is off of music and content creation.
That's what's up. So tell the people how they could, how the best way they could find you for, either your content or, to be able to, get that information and be able to, learn under you and all of that.
Yeah, so the best way to kind of get into Instagram at Real J Nolan or on TikTok at Real J Nolan as well. If you want to book a consultation with me or learn from me or anything like that, just go to realjnolan.com. But any platform that's out there, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be at Real J Nolan.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So I like to ask this question with everybody I have. So like out of all the titles and all the accomplishments that you done had, so far, what is the one that you like most proudest of?
It's always a toss-up, man. I think the Loaded Lux Hot 97 thing is definitely up there for me. That and like the Kevin Hart situation, because with Hot 97 and Loaded Lux, like that was just Hot 97, bro. Like I knew what Hot 97 was before I actually knew what it was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I used to hear legendary freestyles of the Locks and Cannabis and Jay-Z, DMX, all these people. I used to hear them Hot 97 freestyles, and I didn't even have a location to put it to. I just knew it was Hot 97. And then once I learned, oh, that's the radio station up there in New York throughout the whole tri-state, like for me, that was like, oh, that's the Mecca. I gotta get there. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? But me being in the South, me being in Atlanta, I never really took that trek. Like I went out there once before because I visited family or whatever, but going out there to do something with Hot 97, I'm invited by these folks. They paid for my travel, my hotel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh, this is real. You know what I'm saying? And I got Loaded Lux hyping me up. Like, I don't watch this dude annihilate dudes. He is a premier MC, and he back here hyping me up like I'm him.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So that's definitely up there in the ranks. And then for Kevin Hart, I mean, that goes without saying, man. Like, whether people like his style of comedy or not, he is the guy. You know what I'm saying? So to even be associated with that in itself is amazing for me. You know what I mean? And it's something that could never be taken away. Anybody who ever watches, and people still watch that to this day, I know, because I tracked the Shazams on that song. So people still watching that mug.
Right. Okay, listen, man. See, look, hey, bro, much love to you. Continued success, man. Keep doing your thing. I like I said, I've been peeping from afar, but not too far. But like I say, man, much love and success to you, bro. All right.
Thank you so much. Likewise, bro.
And thank you for coming on my show, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Right there, man. The one and only J Nolan, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. I thank y'all for coming on, checking me out, checking my man J Nolan out, man. This has been ManDeleon, straight with no chaser. I'm out of here like a breeze through the trees, and when I'm going, I'm taking all the leave. Much love and success. Y'all stay blessed.
It's ManDeleon.
Straight with no chaser. I'ma give it to you straight with no chaser.